So, a lot of us woke up this morning to see kind of a funny headline. James Harden will be traded possibly for Darius Garland on the Cavs. I think a lot of us NBA fans almost like laughed. It wasn't crazy like the Luca trade, and it didn't happen yet, but like yet another James Harden trade request. And I don't know, it kind of made sense when I saw it at first glance. Eitan, share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you got it from both parties, right? Let's first focus on the Clipper side. That part's easy, right? If you think about it, Garland, he's young. He's still a young talent in his prime, and he could make sense with a Kawhi Leonard, right, in a half court setting. If you have a superstar style like Harden, who's now on his third or fourth trade request, usually you're looking at a haul that's going to be expirings and at best a second round pick, kind of what Philadelphia and the Clippers did a couple of years ago. You don't expect to get an all star from a couple of years ago and a budding talent like Darius Garland. So obviously the Clippers would be thrilled with such a notion. Having said that, for the Clippers side, the reservations could be let's look what happened right now with these smaller guards who can't play defense, right? Trey Young just got dealt for a bag of chips and a really low level asset in that Washington trade. And you're looking right now, combo guards are being devalued around the league, smaller guards that can't defend, right? Cole Anthony used to be a promising young talent. The Bucks picked up on waivers. He can't get off the court, right? Malik Monk considered a bad contract. So throughout the league, you're seeing a lot of these under 6'4" guards really don't have a ton of value. And the Cavs might be looking at that as Garland, who has got about 4 years left at about $40-ish million on his deal. So it's not the best contract. So that's the risk from the Clippers. Having said that, the Clippers have no young assets. You're getting a young asset for a guy who's requesting a trade. You have title aspirations, no pun intended. But so now's your window. Fine. So the Clippers land makes sense. The Cavs situation here is where things get interesting. And on that note, I think the Cavs have kind of two scenarios they're playing out right now. They're an over apron team, and you're looking at you need to dump one of your big deals if you really want to be aggressive in the offseason. They don't want to be married to this roster, which they clearly feel is no better than a second round type team. They don't want to be stuck with it. So if you essentially move Garland for Harden, you're kind of having your cake and eating it too. Why? Because what that does is now, if it goes well, great. Let's renegotiate maybe an extension for Harden, which is why he's asking out as an aside. His money, obviously, and the Clippers don't want to offer him that. But if it doesn't work out, it's Giannis time for Cleveland. Because right now, they actually can't make a Giannis deal because they're over the second apron. But if Harden asks out, they don't or leaves and they don't re-sign him, you're basically shedding $40 million off your cap sheet. You're not only a first apron team, you're now only a couple million away from being below first apron, which now obviously expands your trade opportunities for Giannis in the offseason.
Okay. So, I guess the better question now is how close is it actually coming to fruition? Because it seemed like an inevitable trade in the initial headlines. And then there was a little bit of cold water poured on it. And the Cavs were like, hold on, we didn't say this, blah, blah. But what's the status right now of this trade?
Yeah, look, I think the Cavs recognize that they're giving up more here. They want to pick. The last thing the Clippers want to do as a team that has a slight eye on I don't even say a rebuild, but a revamp to get younger. After they've already moved four of their firsts, the last thing you want to do is move another first. We just did this mistake. We're not going to keep doing it, let
Right.
alone for Darius Garland. So I think there's now both sides are playing this sort of tug of war game, which you see a lot of times in negotiations. The bigger thing here, I would think though that Cleveland should pursue is who else is going after James Harden, right? Like, so they have a lot of leverage there, right? The Clippers again, if they're at a point where it's contention or bust, and your second best player just asked out and you want to win now, like what else are we getting for him? Do you have the pieces? If it, so that's one big question. And then for the Cavs, the flip is the case too. Are there other pieces available that do what you want to accomplish with Garland? I don't think there are either because they want a pending expiring and the potential to extend now and the potential to contend now rather. I don't see another route than the Harden either. So I think both sides are going to finally realize they're made for each other.
It does seem like just the perfect deal. I mean, Darius Garland, as you said, combo guard, can't stay healthy. But I do want to push back lightly. James Harden, I mean, we can read his stats. Everyone loves reciting his stats. They're always a little bit higher than we realize. And yet he hasn't made an all-star team in some time, but he has quote unquote all-star stats. And look, as long as it's not a deciding game 6 or game 7 in the playoffs, he seems like a top, I don't know, 18 player in the NBA on any given night, and he seems to be pretty durable. So, like, I would think he actually has more value for a team who just needs another guy. Again, game 7 aside.
He does do well with lob threats, but in any half court system, he doesn't do a good job of playing off the ball. And because of that, and the requirement of him to have a decent usage, it's tough to fit him in. And the Cavs' risk here is quite enormous in the name of Donovan Mitchell. You really think if Garland and Mitchell weren't the best tandem, what makes one think that Harden and Mitchell could be? So I think that lack of being able to be plug and play really hurts. My best example of this is like it's plug and play and obviously great contract. Like Mikal Bridges has had has been getting moved around for enormous packages solely because, yes, he's talented, but he's an extreme plug and play guy and he's got a great contract. Harden now coming on a pending request to get a massive contract extension at a guy is his age and his playoff performances hurt his value more than his talent.
Gotcha. What about a team like Minnesota?